So Faraway Lulu, what's your favourite Michelle Yeoh role?
I don't know if it's my favorite role, but I just have to give it to her character in Crazy Rich Asians. Just the opening sequence, that opening scene.
Which we will talk about in great detail after the intro. Hollywood is replete with stories of actors and actresses whose careers have shit the bed harder than Goldilocks after a 4-day tequila bender. And for many of them, the odds of seeing the silver screen again are about the same as them finding rocking horse shit. Such was the case for K-Hugh Kwan, or at least it was, until he entered the orbit of known legend, Michelle Yeoh. So Faraway Lulu, you know this story because you're the one who told me about it, but you don't know all the specific details, correct?
Yes, I do, because it's super wholesome.
It's a very wholesome story, yeah. So would you like to just go over like the basic details as you understand it, and then we'll get into, you know, the specifics in a moment.
Yeah, so I guess most people mostly knew Kwan for his roles in the 80s with Indiana Jones and The Goonies. I forgot the name of the character in The Goonies.
And in Indiana Jones, who did you play?
I keep fucking up this kid's name. So half the time in my head, it's Short Stack, but I know it's not that.
It's just a small pile of pancakes. As we all know, Paul moonlighted as a pile of waffles in the forest. Here's his cameo in Shrek.
Yeah! Waffles! And I thought the Waffle Fairy was just a bedtime story.
Sorry, I watched Shrek over Christmas, and there's just a bit in it where they find waffles in the forest, and Donkey's like, look, some waffles, I'm going to eat these waffles. And Shrek's all like, what are you on a far? There's waffles in the forest, is that not suspicious? He's like, oh yeah. Sorry. I watched Shrek.
There's a stack of freshly made waffles in the middle of the forest. Don't you find that a wee bit suspicious? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're gonna... I'm just...
Wait, Americans do call pancakes short stacks, right?
I don't know.
Okay, I could have sworn I saw anything. You know, I'll Google it afterwards.
Short stack?
Right here.
Here you go, hon.
So, and you'd think with those two roles under his belt as a child actor, Kwan's career was like set for greatness, but it wasn't, was it? And what happened to him?
Basically, he just couldn't get any more roles because as he aged out of just being the cute token kid, they did not want to give any leading roles to Asian men unless they were going to be the butt of a joke, like Lon Duck Dong or something like that.
And the way I've summed it up in the original article is eventually Kwan found himself disillusioned with Hollywood because the only roles that were offered to Asians were bit parts, racist, or a bit racist.
Very clever dinner. Appetizing food fitting neatly into interesting round pie.
And it's important to note that, yes, there were some Asian actors who managed to get through, because every time you talk about stuff like this, you always have someone go, well, what about Jackie Chan? As if, like, you know, the existence of one successful Asian actor completely makes up for the fact there were hundreds, if not thousands, who never got anywhere due to the fact they were Asian. Like, we've covered on the channel before, like Sessue Hayakawa, I think it was, who was like a leading man in the 1930s, and then World War II happened, and he was Japanese, so like, no, fuck you can play villains, and that's it.
White women were enamored with Hayakawa. They loved the idea of the dark and brooding foreigner, the forbidden fruit, the taboo of race and sex, because it was taboo. In 1930, the Motion Picture Production Code explicitly forbade miscegenation, aka sex relations between white and black races. This also applied to Asians.
And I was literally gonna say, I mean, like, how many times has Watanabe Ken just been cast as
man who says Godzilla? That's it. Like, the thing is, though, I think his role in Godzilla might be the singular, most just definitive Asian role, because all he does is say the words Godzilla and talk about Hiroshima. That's literally all he does.
It stopped. Yes. 8:15 in the morning, August 6, 1945. Hiroshima.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's like, did you see it recently where you had like Jennifer Lawrence like say, yeah, I was like one of the first like female action stars, and you had those kind of guys online have been like, well, what about Ellen Ripley? Or Sarah Connor, as if, like, you know, two women from the 80s, 10 years before Jennifer Lawrence was born, discounts the fact, like, Jason Statham as an actor has more, like, action movie credits than 50% of the population. And whenever stuff like that happens, it always frustrates, because I love talking about film. And the guys who say that, they don't want to have a discussion. They want to shut the discussion down. They just don't want to talk about the fact, the very uncomfortable fact, that Hollywood is super fucking white and super male. And when people do, like, you know, squeak through and manage to gain some level of success, a disappointingly large amount of people just go, well, that's enough, right? That's fine. And it's not. Because I want to see more movies led by people who aren't Tom Cruise or Chris Pratt.
Oh my god. I think everyone's just sick of Chris Pratt at this point.
Yeah, and the easiest way to get, like, you know, more actors who aren't Chris Pratt in movies, like, you know, start hiring people who aren't white. But bringing it back to Kwon, you mentioned there that, you know, he was successful in the 80s and his career just, like, you know, just went off a cliff. And it turns out that he did have a couple of roles, both in front of and behind the camera. They were just nowhere near as noteworthy as being in The Goonies or an Indiana Jones movie. And when I was going through his IMDb page, which makes for some aggressively depressing reading, there were a couple of standouts on there, such as him working as the choreographer for the X-Men movies, and
what?
Jet Li's The One, which I'm only going to mention so I can put in a clip of Jet Li fighting infinite criminals on top of a Predator pyramid.
I will be the one.
Have you seen Jet Li's The One?
I have not, and I'm surprised you've not made me watch it.
So Jet Li's The One is like this weird science fiction Jet Li vehicle where they say, oh, we discovered that there are multiple alternate realities, but there's not an infinite amount like we thought. There are like 2,000. And if your alternate self in one of these alternate realities dies, you get all of their like skills, abilities, and power. And just a Jet Li alternate goes around murdering all the other Jet Lis to become the ultimate Jet Li. And it just ends with him being like arrested and sent to like the prison dimension, which is just a pyramid full of criminals that he fights forever.
Amazing.
Yeah, and like, you know, Kwon worked as a choreographer on that movie as well as the X-Men. Which is weird, this thing is like, it's such a strange that he worked on like X-Men movies for some reason.
Yeah. I had no idea.
That's the thing, it's like, when you look at some people's IMDb page, like, wait, they worked on that? Like, they were in that?
Yeah.
And like Michelle Yeoh, who we're going to be talking about very briefly, is one of those actresses. And while I will be more than happy to have Jet Li's The One on my resume, Kwon evidently was not. And what did he do, LuLu, after working on, like, you know, just a handful of projects like X-Men and stuff?
He basically retired.
Yeah, like, he didn't officially retire, but he got offered no roles and he found it depressing. And that's why he went back to college and got a degree for working behind the camera. That's how he ended up working on like X-Men and stuff like that. Because he's like, well, if I'm not going to get any work in front of the camera, maybe I can work behind it. And even those roles were few and far between. So like I said, he didn't officially retire, but he just stopped getting offered roles, so just stopped trying. And that's really sad, isn't it?
It is really sad.
Like this icon of the 80s. And not so as well, he's a really good actor and a really nice guy.
It's always sad when someone falls off like that and it's not because of like drugs or like, I don't know, his parents didn't like fuck over his Coogan account or something like that. But it's just like straight up Hollywood systematic racism really pushed someone out.
Yeah, a really good actor who would, like, you know, had a very promising start. He's like, the guy worked with Spielberg. It's like, what better starts you could? I'm working with Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg at like 8 years old. Let's fucking go. You fast forward 20 years and he's like telling Hugh Jackman how to run around with like knives in his hands. It's like, damn. What a fucking fall off that is. But that wasn't the end for Kwon, was it? Because there was a light at the end of the tunnel that represented his career that looked suspiciously like known legend of this earth, Michelle Yeoh.
Hell yeah.
Meet the new lady of the house, Eleanor Young.
He, like everybody else, went out to go see Crazy Rich Asians and was just blown away by how amazing it was. And then he also realized, oh, hey, look at that. Guess who's in all the leading roles? Maybe I can make it in Hollywood.
I make that difficult decision to step away, not because I didn't love it. I really love it, but there was just not a lot of opportunities for me at that time. So I was content working behind the camera all these years until 2018, when a little movie called The Crazy Rich Asians came out.
Yeah. So the long story short is that Kwon watched Crazy Rich Asians and was like, wow, an Asian-led movie is doing really well at the box office, and all of the Asian people in it aren't playing stereotypical roles, they're just playing roles. Maybe Hollywood has moved on, and he called his agent and was like, yeah, I think I'm ready to start looking into acting again. And that's kind of awesome, isn't it? Just like he saw this movie and he was just like so overwhelmed by, seeing himself on screen. It inspired him to like take up acting again.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. And I guess, do we have time for a personal anecdote?
Of course we do, yes.
So I guess when this conversation about representation comes up, I feel like for a lot of people it's like nebulous. Like they don't necessarily understand what it means, but it actually has like a super real impact. Like just talking for myself, I did ballet when I was a kid for years, and I really, really liked it, and I really, really enjoyed it. And our particular dance studio troupe, whatever, had like a partnership with a Russian troupe that came to visit, and they were going to dance the Nutcracker with us. And my teacher kept telling me, she's like, look up to these people, try to be like them, be just like them, because they're professionals. This is what a professional looks like. And my little dumb child ass did not know that Russia was a European country. And so when I saw all these tall, blonde, blue-eyed women, I'm like, I can never be tall, blonde hair, and blue-eyed. I just quit ballet after that.
Yeah. And that is a story that is depressingly common. And it's always guys who look like me who try and downplay it. And every time the discussion of like representation in media comes up, I always just think there's like images that went around of like Daisy Ridley posing next to little girls dressed like Ray. And like, there's a lot of weird men online who think that's funny. Like, oh, that's stupid. Why those little girls? Why do they care that was a female Jedi? You think, well, it's the first one we've ever had in a in a mainline role. Someone's gonna go, well, what about? You're gonna do that thing of, well, what about this character from the expanded universe? It's like, no, that's the first female Jedi we've had in a mainline role in one of the movies in a series that's 30 years old.
You're my hero. Thanks.
And it's like, that's who that movie's for. It's like when I went to like Disneyland once, and I went to like Galaxy's Edge, and they had a Rey in there, and there was a bunch of little girls crowding around the Rey, and you could just tell that the actress who was playing Rey was fucking loving it, because all these little girls with lightsabers asking her to duel them.
Wait, that's precious.
Yeah, and that's what that is for. And it's like you said there with like you as a little kid, you didn't have anyone in the world of ballet that you could look up to, and it put you off it. And it's the same thing with Kwon, where he was so disillusioned with Hollywood of like he never saw Asian people in the lead unless they were playing like comic relief or they were Jackie Chan. And it's that thing of like, it's really, really depressing because you hear so many stories about that from like all like parts of the media. So it reminds me a little bit of a few years ago. The BBC came under fire for not having gender parity on its panel shows. And that's why they made the push to always have 2 men and 2 women on their panel shows. And there's a story told by comedian Frankie Boyle when he worked on Mock the Week as a producer. And he was one of like, the mainstays who would like, be on every week. And he was asked, do you have any comedians that are up and coming you can recommend for the guest spot this week? And he said Sarah Millican, one of my favourite comedians. And a producer told him to his face, well, I don't think we're going to get her because we've already got a woman on this week.
So like I presented Nevermind the Buzzcocks a couple of times, and I tried to get a female comedian on both times, and they were just not having it. I was trying to get Sarah Millican on, and eventually I think on the 3rd phone call they just said, or they implied, I'd be sacked if, and I got fucking Richard Herring or something.
Well, but certainly I've had that experience as well, not as a woman, but then I know friends of mine have said haven't been booked on stuff because they said, no, we've already got a woman on this week.
Yeah.
And you think that was quite common. I don't think that's something that would happen so much anymore, do you think?
I think it still happens. I think it's happening right now.
And it's just, yeah, that's how it is. And that fucking sucks. And that's why movies like Crazy Rich Asians are awesome. And I think Crazy Rich Asians is a great movie because it just shows Asian people just being ballers in all senses of the word. Because I remember you showed me that movie and you said, Karl, coming up is what might be the greatest party scene in any movie ever. I'm like, well, that's going to take some fucking doing because there's a lot of party scenes in a lot of movies, and it's when they turn up to the fucking like airport and that knobhead turns up and he's like, this is the stag do. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that, but I feel like a lot of people who like are in Western countries and don't meet people from Singapore, like don't know like the wealth that is Asian wealth.
Yeah. And it's watching that movie, it's like the aspirational aspect. It was like you're watching a movie that is entirely Asian led, and it's not about the fact they're Asian, it's the fact they're rich and awesome.
We have to get off this ship.
And that's not like, and it reminds me a little bit of when like Bridgerton came out. And I saw a great breakdown of it from some random person on Twitter. Like, yeah, I'm really liking Bridgerton because it's so nice to watch a show that's full of black people. That's not about how much it sucks to be black. It's just them being hot and having sex. I needed that. And in specific regards to like Michelle Yeoh's role in the movie, Kwon watched it and was like entranced by her performance. And when he contacted his agent, like, I want to get into acting again, he told them, if there's anything with Michelle Yeoh, like, get me in on that. I want to work with her. And this is where, like, the story gets almost unbelievable, because at the exact same time Kwon decided to get back into acting, the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once, the Daniels I think they're called, randomly saw a gif of Short Round on Twitter and like, I wonder what happened to that guy. It's like, I've never heard anything from that guy. Is he still around? Is he dead? Is he, like, you know, still acting? And at that moment they put out feelers and went, maybe we should put him in our movie.
That's kind of amazing. I didn't realize that part. I didn't know they had like pre-considered him for the role.
Well, that's the thing. They never thought of him right up until they changed the script. Because in the original script, the character that Michelle Yeoh plays, Evelyn Wang, was going to be played by Jackie Chan. It was written for Jackie Chan. And the Daniels thought...
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Like, you look, it's a very Jackie Chan role. And then they thought to themselves, well, Jackie Chan's kind of done it all. Let's mix it up a little bit and cast a woman in the role. And then they thought, Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah. One of the things I love most about this project is that I read that it was originally developed for Jackie Chan and then reimagined for you, which I love.
You mean I'm not Jackie Chan? Well, I'm only very glad that these two amazing guys
Thank you.
wised up and realized that it was not a Jackie Chan film. He's already done enough of those movies.
When they did, like, you know, the gender swap on the main character, they start looking for a husband character, and that's where they thought about Kwon. And just all of this happened within the space of 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, so all of these things happened within the space of about 2 weeks. So Kwon getting back into acting after seeing Crazy Rich Asians, the Daniels seeing like a gif of him as Short Round on Twitter, then reaching out to him and changing the gender of the main character and all that stuff. It all happened within 2 weeks, and it's so serendipitous that it all worked out this way, because basically Kwon said to his agent, look, I want to get into acting again. Anything with Michelle Yeoh I'm down for, but just get me a role. Like a week and a half later, yeah, there's a movie coming out with Michelle Yeoh, you'll play her husband. He's like, fuck yeah, get me in.
And this was like after decades without an agent. And I asked him, would you want to rep me? And he says, yes. 2 weeks later, I got a call about this movie.
2 weeks later, this movie. Day one, we did our scene, first day. And I remember afterwards, you kind of leaned over and you went, was that okay?
And the rest, as they say, is history. So far away in LuLu, let's now just very briefly talk about Michelle Yeoh. And you mentioned your favourite Michelle Yeoh moment, which is the start of Crazy Rich Asians, where she just walks into the hotel and is like, fuck this. I'm buying this bitch.
Please, may I use your phone to call my husband? It's the least you can do.
I mean, yeah, like, also, as, like, we've been talking about it, I kind of realized another amazing feat that she did for her career. Did you know? She broke the Bond girl curse.
Yes, she was she's an early Bond girl. I think it's The World Is Not Enough. Is she a Bond girl in?
I don't remember. It was with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. Well, there'll be a clip in anyway, no worries. Yeah, because it's
It better be the one where she handcuffs him to the shower.
Thanks for washing my hair. I work alone.
Yeah, would you like to clarify, people maybe don't know what the Bond girl curse is?
So basically, there's been this quote-unquote curse where after a woman stars as the opposite to James Bond or his love interest in some way, her career takes a nosedive. I think probably the most recent example that's been like harrowing almost has been Halle Berry. I mean, she won Best Actress and then she was in Catwoman.
But it's alright, because then she was in John Wick 3, where she's doing dog combos with Keanu Reeves, so she kind of brought it back a little bit there. But yeah, it's then there's another one like Denise Richards, plays like a nuclear scientist in one of those Bond movies. It's like, oh. Then her career went off a fucking cliff, and Michelle Yeoh's like, nah. Well, that's the thing, she's also broke another barrier, where she's one of the first people to play 2 roles in the MCU. Because, do you remember when we watched Shang-Chi?
Mm-hmm.
And like the mom turns up, and I turned to you and went, I really feel like that role was written for Michelle Yeoh. And I mentioned to you that it probably wasn't, though, because Michelle Yeoh's in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, alongside Sylvester Stallone and Miley Cyrus of all people. Like,
yeah.
Like she's one of like the jobber ravagers that turn up at the end.
Yondu, Doctor. I will see you in the stars.
But who turns up like halfway through that movie?
I thought we had already gotten past that point of, yes, she's in that movie with the way you worded
no, I mean, like, I just say, like, who turns up. So she turns up, so she's like, she plays 2 roles in the MCU as well, because she's just that fucking good. And I'm honestly surprised that when they put Michelle Yeoh in it, they didn't just say fuck it and put Ming-Na Wen in it. From Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, oh, wait. You know what? I just realized there's another, one of Michelle Yeoh's co-stars from Crazy Rich Asians also has played 2 roles in the MCU.
Which one's that?
And that is, oh my god, what's her name? I forget her name. Oh, Gemma Chan. She was in Eternals as the main character, and then also she was that, she was one of the people in she was one of the people in Thanos' posse.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I think.
Like, you know what? Asians get it done.
Wait. Let me double check that. Yeah, but she was in like hella prosthetic makeup.
But I just love that. Like, she's played 2 roles. Like, Crazy Rich Asians have got 2 actors in it who've played 2 roles in the MCU.
Not Thanos, sorry. It was Captain Marvel.
Oh,
She's the one that when they were fighting, like, how come we never got along? She's like, I just don't like you.
So I'm gonna say, is she like Proxima Midnight or something like that?
Minerva.
Oh, Minerva, she plays that character. Okay, don't worry, there'll be clips in of all these characters so people know who we're talking about, because they are, like, you know, bit parts. Like, the one with Michelle Yeoh is, like, a bit part, admittedly, but she's still in it. And there is still, like, threads there for a potential, like, you know, spin-off or sequel, because I know that Sylvester Stallone has been like, yeah, I'll be in, like, the Jobber Ravagers movie, why not? And, like, Miley Cyrus is like, yeah, I'd reprise my role. All I did was be a voice off camera for, like, 5 seconds. I'd do that again. I'd be a Jobber Ravager. Why not? I guess to end on, should we just talk about the fact that, like, Michelle Yeoh is such a baller that her character in Crazy Rich Asians, like, she plays, like the matriarch of the family, and she's supposed to, like, have all this bling. And they brought out, like, the showpieces for her character to wear, and Michelle Yeoh just went, fuck that shit, and brought her own in.
Yeah, and then she wore it to the premiere being like, yeah, it's real, it's mine.
Yeah. Like, that huge, big, like, pimp ring she wears in the movie is, like, Michelle Yeoh's actual real-life jewellery that she wore because the shit they got in was not good enough. It's like, a character like mine would never wear that. Bring my stuff in. And she did. And she, like I said, she wore it to premiere because she's fucking awesome.